So I'm going to do my little quote unquote theory lesson with you. I'm going to use my headset because I hear someone outside and I have the window open. I'm going to show you. It's a very beautiful day today. Believe it or not, like right now it looks quiet, but like supposedly they're doing construction. They do everything but construction because I'm telling you, like the construction around here, me coming from Barcelona, that construction is done within I don't know, a couple months. I don't know. They be talking about me and simming, but you can't hear them right now because they're probably toned down. But I have the window open, so I always hear people simming outside. So I'm going to do this little lesson with my headset on. So this map I'm going to show you. It's a bit small. I'm going to try to put my little head small. Okay, so that you can see. Obviously, as I was going to say to you, there they go. Obviously, hold on one second. I'll open it after. Anyways, obviously, so this is the map of the Mediterranean, right? And when I keep telling you that what's going on right now is an attack of and the suppression of the feminine, the divine feminine energy. Now, I find myself, if you look at the map, it's kind of small. I'm gonna see if I can maybe just get a bigger map later, but probably I don't know. I'm in France. On the map, I'll see one moment. I try to do it, it doesn't help, so you're just gonna have to work with me. So I'm in France, but I'm still touching almost the water. Like if you look on the map, you'll see that there's one area that's kind of like Barcelona, and then the next part says like Marseille. And I would be in that little like bump that comes out between or that kind of goes in France, like after Spain, you see there's like a little arc that kind of goes, all right. I'm like in the middle between there next to that like protruding triangle, if that makes any sense. So I'm still touching the water. Okay, I'm still kind of in the south of France. I'm touching the water. Okay, so what's going on in Europe? Okay, you see all the countries that are underneath Europe. They're supposed to be the also normally majority Islamic. Okay, and then if you consider Europe, this area of Europe is also supposed to be Christian. Okay. Now, keep in mind also, southern part of France had the land of the Cathars and all that, like the region where I'm located. Okay. Besides this, I would say as far as like uprising and mentality and all of that, you know that I've spoken about this agenda to try to suppress the feminine divine in Europe. What they have been doing, they've been using immigration as an excuse in Europe, right? To bring in other cultures. Not everybody's bad, but you know the parasitics are going to do what they can do to cause fear and tension and insecurity. And then on top of that, also the agenda of promoting the Islamic faith, the Islamic religion. Okay. So I'm talking about this because this is very important and central to the topic. Remember that I said that, like, for all you know in the simulation, you don't really know how many people really want to participate in this religion, but you do know that if you don't and you're born into certain households where they practice this religion, it's really very difficult to express yourself and say, like, I don't really like want to be a part of that or something like this. Not that they have to convert to Christianity, it just could just be that they just don't feel all the way, you know what I'm saying, attached to that religion. I would say that in my opinion, because there's, I don't know, in France it's been a little bit different, but like for example in Spain, I feel like even though you have a lot of people from that area in the Mediterranean, like Morocco, Algeria, they practice, but they're not like it's not, I don't feel like they I feel are more and can be more Europeanized in that sense of behaviors. I do feel like I said, they're parasitics in every group, and the objective is to portray stereotypes, and you'll find that in every race because that's what the Matrix tries to do. But as far as like culturally, I feel like they are more able to mix in, if that makes any sense. Okay, in Spain, what they tried to do recently, I don't know if you heard this, They tried to do this thing where they were going to regulate like all of the people without papers, and then they started to show that there were a lot of people coming from this is what the media showed. I mean, it's for everybody, but they kind of showed like these long lines of like people from mostly it was like really Pakistan and stuff like that, where I feel from my experience, from things I've seen like living in Barcelona, that they tend to be more how should I say, more rigid in the religion. Okay, they're more stricter into the religion and everything like this, because I'm honestly telling you that a lot of the friends and people that I knew that were like from the other North African countries, like they didn't even hardly wear hijabs. Okay, so this is why I'm telling it to you. Yes, some, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. So if you look at the Mediterranean and you kind of know that there's this kind of push in immigration, trying to bring in more immigration from countries that tend to be Islamic. This is the tactic, okay? But like I said, this is a tactic from a spiritual perspective of repressing the spiritual, feminine, divine energy, okay? One moment. Okay, so we're going to look here. This is considered the map of the Orient now, okay? So even they include North Africa into the Orient. That part of the Orient, technically, they compare it also to is, part of Asia, whatever. I don't know. Mind you that people from North Africa have a completely different genetic makeup. They are not Arabs, okay? But anyways, that's another discussion. So this area here, if you look at it from that perspective, let's imagine that, when you're looking at that little area of water that's enclosed, it's actually between two chakras of the earth. It's between the throat chakra and the heart chakra. The heart chakra is around near France and Spanish, and the throat chakra is thrown around someplace around, I'll show you in another map now. So you have all the countries that from the back are technically, yes, mostly Islamic. Of course, you have Christians everywhere. In Lebanon, there are a lot of Christians. But then if you remember, in Iran is where right now we're fighting, and there's supposed to be a Stargate there. There are also other Stargates in France and other places, but it could be that the one that they say that is active right now, that maybe is supposed to be letting in the feminine divine energy, is in Iran. That's what they say. All right. Let's go to another map, but I'm just showing you how the push is coming from, right? Consider that Israel, Lebanon is there, causing all of that trauma on those ley lines, touching that body of water in the Mediterranean. Okay. And then me, myself, and maybe other chosen ones, we're like pushing back from the other direction. Okay. So it's like a pushback, but there's a war in this little section. There is a spiritual war in this section, because if there's a lot of positive energy coming from, let's say, the side of France and Spain, or the land of the Cathars or whatever, wherever there are, other chosen one. I'm not talking only about me. I'm trying to be humble here. But anyways, but imagine also that they're trying to counteract that by doing the attacks and doing more stuff in the Middle East right now. And then also the fight here in Iran, it's kind of like in between. You know that the other countries, they're not as shaky as the North African countries as far as faith. They are very strict, okay? Because you see right there, you have Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, and all of these countries that, Iran right now, they're in battle, right? A lot of the women, they were fighting. There's a spiritual battle. There's an uprising, and they're fighting. But more or less, it has been like a strong standpoint. But the other side is a little bit shakier. Okay. So here's a larger overview of where all the chakras are. Okay, this is a larger view, so you can see the 7 chakras. And here is another version. Okay, so you can see kind of like in that region where I just showed you, they put it like a little bit above France, but it's like, I heard it's like closer to France, whatever. And the throat chakra, which is near the Middle East. So you see that there's that little body of water is like where I feel like there's a battle trying to gain more ground there to suppress any energy, feminine energy in between those points. The video is about to finish, so I might have to do another one. But so now I'm showing you a picture of Asia. So if you look behind Iran, right, you have the other countries. You only have Afghanistan and Pakistan that maybe are, or maybe some of them that are more heavily Islamic. And then the other ones are ruled by China, because China is a technocracy. So they hold down that section. And I'm not quite sure what Russia does actually, but that's another story.